Greetings everyone, I am Thomas the Retro Nerd, reviewing the games good or bad. So, by the end of the last video, that is correct, I'm going to be taking a look at a lot of franchises from the 90s. Now, before you put any suggestions in the comments below, no.
What could possibly go wrong?
No, I am not doing Bubsy. It's a cliche in its own, people have talked about it to death, and if I ever talk about this franchise, it's going to be very repetitive. Don't even try. Anyway, on to important business. The one word I could say about Kirby is... cute.
Kirby!
Also powerful. Very powerful. Kirby is one of those franchises that got its start in the early 90s, created by Masahiro Sakurai, who was only 23 when he created the little pink puff. That's impressive. While working at HAL Laboratory, he was tasked by Nintendo to make a video game that even little kids can beat. As thus, he created Kirby's Dreamland, released on the Game Boy in 1992. We all know that Kirby is pink, which is what Sakurai wanted, but Shigeru Miyamoto, father of Mario, wanted Kirby to be yellow. I bet these two argued like a sibling rivalry, so Nintendo of America decided on white until things cooled down. Then again, yellow could be too close to Pac-Man. Luckily, this wasn't ignored. It was mentioned in the Super Smash Bros. Series. So for this video, I feel like redoing a video that I've already done in the past. I know I did a Kirby video in this similar format, but that video was so bad you should chuck it to the nearest volcano. Even the title card looks lazy. Luckily, my art style has improved as years goes on. So for this video, I'm going to be talking about the first two Kirby games that kickstarted the franchise. And the first game we're looking at is Kirby's Dreamland on the original Game Boy. Just to let you know, I do have a physical copy of the game. Playing this on the Super Game Boy gives it a bit of a pink tint, which doesn't look good. But playing this either on the Game Boy Advance or the Game Boy Player Adapter on the GameCube, in my opinion, looks worse with the way the game is colored. Looks like Dream Collection is the way to play this game. So for this review, I recorded this game off of my Wii U with my new HDMI capture card. So I hope you like the upscale, folks. The plot for Kirby's Dreamland is that King Dedede and his Ron band of thieves, which is what the Kirby Wiki calls it, have stolen all the food from Dreamland and also have stolen the Dreamlanders' treasured sparkling stars. So Kirby decided he must get the food back and teach that fat penguin a lesson. I get it, this game is made for kids. If Mario games can have the same plot for over 35 years, why can't this game have the simple plot? Nevertheless, if you mess with Kirby, you have to pay the price. You have 4 levels to adventure through, with the final level that serves as a boss rush until you get to the fight with King Dedede. Kirby can jump, hover, that's what it looks like, and inhale enemies to get through each level. Sadly, that's all you do. Very bare bones for a Kirby game, but since this is the first game in the series, you can't give this game flack. I mean, the trademark for Kirby in the entire series is its copy ability. This is one of the 2 games that doesn't have that feature, the other being Kirby's Epic Yarn. Well, I'll get to that game when I can. Though none of the enemies can compete against Kirby's powerful inhale like Waddle Dees, Waddle Doos, Boom Hatters, Tweezies, and many more. Though not all enemies are affected like Scarfy, I hate them. Trying to inhale it berates it and after a while, it explodes. Yeah, despicable. There are some healing items in this game like the energy drink bottle that helps you out a bit, and the bag of magic food, later on in the series known as the Maximum Tomato, that refills your energy in full. There's also the invincible candy that works like the star in Super Mario Bros., the microphone that destroys enemies in one use, bombs when thrown can explode enemies on impact, and the warp star that helps Kirby travel through the next section of each level. Lastly, there are projectile items like the super spicy curry that makes Kirby throw fireballs, and the mint leaf that just makes Kirby shoot puffballs. The boss battles come in different varieties. Though the mini-bosses are fine, I'm mainly talking about the main bosses. I mean, one of them is a frickin' tree. His name is Wispy Woods, mind you.
What do you think you're doing?
Throwing the apples back to you. What do you think? Lolo and La 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 are strange choices for a boss. They are characters from a different HAL game, Eggerland on the Famicom, which is later known as Adventures of Lolo on NES. It's a puzzle game where you push blocks. Nothing to write home about. It's kind of odd that there are a boss in this game, but whatever, it's kind of a cool reference. Kabula is unimaginable. It's just a blimp with a cannon attached to it, and it takes 40 hits to get down. That's a bit nuts. This is also the only time where you can use the mint leaf. Pathetic. Krakow, on the other hand, is awesome. He's a fun boss fight, plus his design is creative, a spiky cloud with one eye. Yeah, also his pattern is very easy to memorize. The final battle with King Dedede is a challenge. He could suck like Kirby, jump in the air, swing his hammer. Drips? Man, this might have been the basis for Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Before you even fight King Dedede, you have to go through shorter versions of previous levels and refining the bosses. I actually like this challenge. Well, anyways, after defeating the king, you return the food and sparkling stars and save Dreamland. It's funny that Kirby has the ability to inflate himself so big like a hot air balloon to carry King Dedede's castle around Dreamland. And again, it's a video game, can't question the logic. This game also has an extra mode, so for the sake of this review, I gave it a shot and I regret it in an instant. I may not be an expert, but you have to be a master to play extra mode. If you can do this, good luck. I gotta say that Kirby's Dreamland is a good start to the franchise. It may be basic by today's standards, but it's still a fun little game to go back to if you're looking to see where Kirby got its start. So what happens when you bring the franchise to the home consoles? This is where we get to Kirby's Adventure on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Let's pop this in. That is a cute opening. So here's Kirby's Adventure on the NES. 1993?! My god, at that time, kids only cared about the Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis, and this guy made a first-party game on a previous Nintendo console at the time. Now I'm curious how it holds up today. The plot for this game begins with Kirby waking up from a nap, realizing he has not had a pleasant dream all night. After visiting the Fountain of Dreams to figure out what went wrong, he finds out that King Dedede has stolen the Star Rod. That bastard! Dedede has broken the rod into 7 pieces, giving one to each of his 6 assistants, and keeping the 7th one for himself. So it's up to Kirby to find the pieces of the Star Rod and return it to the Fountain of Dreams. However, when Kirby restored the Star Rod, King Dedede begged him to not put it back. And of course, he was right. It unleashed a disturbing being named Nightmare, and Kirby has to use the Star Rod to take him down. I get it, Kirby wanted to do something right and bring back the lost dreams, but couldn't the boss characters just tell him, hey listen you pink puff, the world is going to be a living nightmare if you don't stop? Then again, it's confirmed that Kirby is a baby and he doesn't think twice about this. I can't fault him, though do you want to mess with Kirby in the first place? I don't think so. So Kirby has the same abilities from Dreamland, but now he can run, kick slide, he can spew underwater, and the best part about this game is that it introduces the copy ability. It's very simple, you gotta waddle do here, you swallow him and you take its ability. I say this is awesome and it gives Kirby a wider range of attacks. There are 25 abilities throughout this entire game, and my favorites are Beam, Spark, Sword, Fire, UFO, and Wheel. Why do I like Wheel? That's why. I also like UFO because of its rarity. Hell, if you swallow 2 enemies at a time, you'll start a roulette and you'll get a random ability by that. Awesome! Though there are some pathetic ones like Light where you bright up this dark room. Really? And Sleep? I have no words for this. The worst part is that by one touch by any other enemy, you lose your ability. Matter of fact, this game has one of the biggest flaws that frustrates me. Enemies respawn rapidly. This is bullshit. I hate this kind of cliche in old school video games. Oh wait, better yet.
I hate that cliche.
I don't like respawning enemies in video games. It just cheapens the challenge for the entire thing. Now, I know that this was programmed on purpose because Sakurai doesn't want the players to miss out on any of the copy abilities. It is an interesting idea, but it's too much. Hell, I would say that the later games handled it better. Speaking of later games, for an NES game in 1993, this game graphically and sound-wise looks and sounds great. This game is a great example of how companies knew the hardware and were able to take advantage of it with things usually during the end of the console's lifespan. I mean, look at how fluid the scrolling looks like from the building when Kirby is running here. This is something that could be archived in the 80s, folks. Then again, this game suffers from Sprite Flickering, which is another flaw that I don't like. But it doesn't harm the whole experience. In this game, you have full-on worlds to travel through. Upon completing each level, you will launch yourself to gain extra points, or if you press A at the right time, you will gain an extra life. Sometimes I lose track of the timing, so mostly I get bonus points. By the by, I love the little cutscenes showing each world, though a lot of people have problems with Ice Cream Island because Kirby is dreaming when there are no dreams. Huh. In most levels there are these secret rooms with these giant switches. They can give you access to battle arenas and some sub-games. In the battle arenas, you will face a sub-boss just in case if you want a different ability than the one that you have. Plus 1 maximum tomato to go. The museum is the same thing, but you can get the ability for free without a fight. Now about the sub-games. This crane game gives me nightmares these days. I used to be good at them in real life, but these days, the people who own them decided to rig them so they're impossible to play, or they want to take a vacuum and suck the money out of your wallet. I'm getting off track here. The egg catcher is where you simply catch eggs and avoiding the bombs. The game ends with the number of eggs that you caught, or if you swallow the bomb accidentally. Lastly, there is Quick Draw, my personal favorite. Now, of course, I love Wild Gunman, so of course, I am a crack shot at this. Playing these games are a perfect way to grind extra lives. Good thing too, because I have to remind you of the unbalanced difficulty. The boss battles are fun to fight with, and in my opinion, a bunch of pushovers now that Kirby has copy abilities. I mean, take a look at this fight with Wispy Woods. That guy had no chance, more like Wimpy Woods. The fight with Payroller may take some time, but as long as you have the laser ability, it'll be a cinch. Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright caused me trouble for a bit, but I find it unique that the Sun and Moon are fighting each other. If you have the high jump ability, Krako is easy to take down. I do have to say that Heavy Mole is interesting, then again, I used the Tornado to finish him. Now, before we go any further, I want to point out that this game introduced us to Meta Knight. He's been helping out Kirby throughout the game, challenges him to a bunch of multi-enemy fights, and he is the boss of Orange Ocean. He only accepts a worthy sword fight, fine by me as long as it pleases him.
You know, it's funny. After you defeat Meta Knight, his mask breaks off, revealing that he's another Kirby. I have a feeling that they're both from the same race. After all, Meta Knight is revealed to be a Star Warrior just like Kirby, but with better skills.
The fight with King Dedede is also similar to his fight in Dreamland, but now he can float like Kirby. He's adapting! Though since Kirby unleashed Nightmare, the King decided to help out Kirby and save the dreams once and for all. Nightmare has 2 forms. It starts off as a giant floating orb that shoots stars. It's easy to handle if you understand the pattern. After beating that, he transformed into this freakish beast. Here's a tip. When he reveals his weak spot, shoot a star at it. It does more damage than swinging the Star Rod. After defeating Nightmare, the dreams are returned to Dreamland, King Dedede is promoted from villain to anti-hero, and the game ends with a recap of all the boss battles. Now, I do say that this game is great, but it does have those flaws that are noticeable. Mainly with the respawning enemies, just pisses me off. Though the level designs are unique, one of them was a nod to Dreamland on Gameboy, that's pretty cool. The soundtrack is very fun to listen to, the copy abilities increase the replayability, and I do love the sub-games to rank in some extra lives. These 2 games are a great introduction to the Kirby franchise. If you have the Dream Collection, go for them. It also has 4 other good Kirby games for some extra fun. But hey, if you're a graphic stickler for Kirby's Adventure, there's also the Game Boy Advance remake.
Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. This is the version that I grew up with. And yeah, this was the very first Kirby game that I ever owned. Yep, way back in 2004.
God, I love this game. It's basically the same as the NES version, but with better graphics, cool hats for Kirby's copy abilities that were introduced in Kirby Superstar, and different sub-games. One of them is a hot potato minigame with a bomb and frying pans. A bit extreme, but whatever. This is Kirby. What do you expect? There's Kirby's Air Grind, another one of my personal favorites. My guess is that this is an inspiration to Kirby's Air Ride? Oh well. And this version of Quick Draw is more of a samurai style. I like it. They even added Chef Kawasaki from the anime. Awesome! But sometimes my button press matches Meta Knight and I draw with him multiple times. Nevertheless, this is a solid remake, and what a way to introduce me into the world of Kirby. I wouldn't mind checking either version out just for curiosity. Even to this day, Kirby is still going strong, and I couldn't be happier.
Yet another video that I've done in the past, refurbished. I would love to take a look at the rest of the Kirby franchise, but as of right now, I got more adventures. It's time for me to revisit Hyrule, folks. I'm Thomas the Retro Nerd, thank you all for watching. See you guys in the next review.